Yeah, a lot of time gonna be on the cleaning of the data. Like if you have a data analysis project, maybe let's say 90% of your time is gonna be to prepare that data. Because once you have the data clean, organized, any software can do the rest, right? You can do it Excel, you can do it Tableau. Um, but when a lot of people who are not data analysts, they think like they only focus on the visual, like the last part, what you show them, the graphs, the tables. But that's the just the visible part of the iceberg. And
Yeah.
uh, and I don't know if the AI are going to be able to do that cleaning. You know,
Yeah. I mean, it's it's still going to come down to a smart person using the AI as a tool to be more efficient.
right?
So maybe it just means you'd be able to get more done. It doesn't mean there are going to be fewer jobs. It means that each job will be able to accomplish more.
Yeah,
Which I mean, we are a very growth minded society, so this is a great way to grow.
yeah. Yeah, on your videos about Excel, I love Excel. Excel, if there's one software everybody should learn is Excel.
Yeah,
It
for sure.
just
You can use
does
it.
it.
You can use it for everything. I
Yeah, it
use it in
does
my personal
everything.
life.
You just open a computer, you type it, it's good. So you have those some ifs, some count if functions. Do you want to talk a little bit about those? Those
Yeah,
really
sure.
important.
So so what'll happen is sometimes when you're working with data and you need to conduct a filter, but you want to do it in a way that doesn't sort of break your database or break your table.
Mhm.
So sometimes just setting up the table and then trying to use a filter to remove rows just isn't going to work because it'll mess up your visualizations, it'll mess up your sums later on. So usually the best thing to do in that case would be to use what we call like a conditional sum or a sum if.
Mhm.
And in my case, I never use sum if on its own. I personally only use sum ifs with an S at the end. And
Mhm.
I have a whole video just ranting about it on my channel,
Mhm.
just where it's explaining why I will never ever use sum if on its own. I will only use sum ifs. And this way, if I have more than one condition, I always can account for it without having to, and it doesn't switch the order. It's a long rant. Don't get me started on it. But I made a video all about it.
Yeah,
But it's useful because it'll allow you. It's almost like a SQL query where you can filter just the info that you need
yeah.
and have it work in your formula without. And then if you need different information, you can just make one little change to your formula, and you'll get a whole new set of information without having to mess up your entire table using filters.
Yes, yes, that's a good point. So some ifs with the S at the end, that's much better because that's obviously you can add more condition inside, and the more it is more easy to update if you want to update it without
Yep.
changing the function itself. Um, and then VLOOKUP. I know you spend a lot of time on VLOOKUP. That's really for everyone who's trying to be data analyst. Yeah, VLOOKUP. It just you have to know that, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely essential. So I tried to use VLOOKUP back at UPS and I just struggled with it. And then we got to this data analytics course through Correlation One, and VLOOKUP was like 2 weeks into the course. Boom, we're doing VLOOKUP, and I knew that this like a lot of the students were already kind of seeing me as like, okay, he already knows what he's doing. If I have a problem, I'm going to go to Chaz. So, and at this point, I'm like, well, I mean, I know VLOOKUP, I've used it before, but I'm not an expert. So that was kind of another impetus for the YouTube channel. I figured just from my teaching experience, I knew that a great way to get really good at something is to try to teach it to somebody else.
Yeah,
So I decided I'm going to make a video about VLOOKUP because in the course of making this video, it will get me to be so precise about my knowledge of VLOOKUP that I will have no choice but to be great at it by the time I finish the video.
yes, that's
And
true.
it worked out because when I finished that video, I was learning VLOOKUP while making the video,
Yes,
learning the details of it.
yes, yes. It's a great tool for anyone doing Excel out there. If you're not using VLOOKUP, go ahead and Google it. You really love it. And now they
Funnily
have
enough,
yeah.
funnily enough, I at some point It was before we did the lesson, but at some point I was just curious and I'm like, well, I noticed the VLOOKUP only lets you go to the right. Is there a way I can go to the left? So I Googled it, and that's how I found index and match. And it was
Okay.
actually before we covered it in the class. So I quickly made a video on it so that the video would be ready. And then when we went over it in class, I posted my link. Like I got the explainer right here. Don't worry.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. It's only let you go through the right, and then you use index and match to go to the left. And also I was Googling about it recently. Now they have X lookup.
Right, right. XLOOKUP. That'll let you go in any direction.
Right,
But
but that one is
yep.
for the newest version of Excel. It doesn't work with the oldest
Right.
Microsoft.
That would be a huge downside if you work at a company
Yes,
where you're using company computers and they decide when they're going to upgrade and they may decide to never upgrade.
yeah, that's true.
And
That's
so if you're at a place, if you're at a school or a business where they're just not going to upgrade that software anytime soon,
yes,
and you're the only one using XLOOKUP and you send the file out and it doesn't work
that's
on
true.
anybody else's computer
That's true.
because they're all still using Excel 2016,
Yes,
then I mean it's also like to me it's better to kind of learn it the old school way
yes,
because at least you know it'll work with any version of Excel.
that's true. If you want to build something, it's better with the old school way for now. Yes, because you can send that to people, and it happens all the time. Some people build macros, some Excel with some macros in there, and then they send you the file. You try to run, it doesn't work, right?
Right.
Uh, so yeah, that's a safe route to use VLOOKUP, index and matches, and yeah, wow, yeah, Excel is really good. It's
Yeah, I mean, I've got a file on my computer in Excel where all it does is it tells me how long to put things in the air fryer. Where it's just all my cooking times. I have another one that tells me what gauge guitar strings to use, depending on because all my guitars are different sizes or different neck lengths,
Mhm.
and depending on how much tension you want on the guitar, you have to use certain string gauges. And I made a calculator
Nice.
using the cross sectional width of each string
Mhm.
and to figure out how much tension would be on the string depending on the string gauge and the note that you're trying to tune it to. And it's all formulas, but I did it in Excel because that's just what I know best.
Yes. Yeah, it works always. Yeah, it's great. It's a great tool. So YouTube, you're obviously a YouTuber. I'm also a YouTuber. What's your thought on YouTube? Do you think it's a great platform? Do you think it's something that's gonna be here for the next, 10 years? And what's your goal with YouTube? You have two channels. You have the Chaz channel, and then um, another main channel that I'm gonna show on screen. But generally on YouTube, what's your thought on YouTube?
Well, I mean, obviously, I love it. YouTube has been my main platform as a viewer for, way over 10 years now. Like I watch, I got rid of my cable subscription probably in 2012, 2013,
Hmm.
because I was doing all of my viewing on YouTube even back then.
Hmm.
So I wasn't even watching TV, so there was no reason to have a TV subscription.
Yeah.
But to me it's a great equalizer. So
Mm.
it, especially at the beginning, I mean even now, it's anyone can grow their channel and become popular and have your stuff, the stuff that you created
Mhm.
viewed by thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of people
Mhm.
without having any industry knowledge, any show business knowledge. You don't have to know somebody in Hollywood.
Yep.
You can just put out good content consistently that people actually want to see,
Mhm.
and people will come and watch it. So I mean, my channel, I mean, I started off getting 10, 15, 20 views on a video, and it was just people in the class. And
Mhm.
then after a while, each video that I would make would get successively more views. And then it got to the point where I would put a video out and it would immediately get like 100 views, which isn't a lot, but
Mhm.
just to think that 100 people actually care to see my face
Yes.
is just it blows my mind.
Yes.
So I think it's great that I didn't have to buy anything other than I guess a webcam,
Yes.
but I didn't have to go to school for it. I just learned how to edit videos on my own. I got a microphone, got a webcam, and just made videos about what I know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a very good equalizer, and I think even today, a lot of people don't really appreciate the potential of YouTube, because if people knew everybody should would be having their own YouTube channel. It's like having your own Facebook account. Everybody's on Facebook. Everybody has a LinkedIn account or Instagram. YouTube is the same. Like to build your own personal brand and also to be able to reach people everywhere around the world for free. Most people now have internet on their phone or they have internet with their laptop. It just, yeah. I mean, you're not obviously making money in the beginning doing it, but if you're passionate with someone, you're passionate with something like, you play music or you're very good in teaching, you're very good in math, in programming, it's just a great way to put your video out there. And like you said, a lot of videos when people used to ask me, hey, why I take a lot of certification. I'm always learning, I'm always getting certified, taking a lot of certification. And some people are telling me, oh, the reason why they don't do that is because you're gonna forget. I said, okay, that's good, but one way for me to not forget, anytime I finish a certificate, I made a video about that, or I make a
Exactly.
course about that. So
Yep.
it just help you, put that in your resources. And if you want to go back to review it, you can still review it for yourself and other people as well.
Yeah,
But
it's great. Like, and just one thing they teach you when you're professional development as a teacher, like when you're trying to train your students and get them good at something, sometimes the best way to do it is to make them teach others, even if they're not quite great at it yet. And it works too. Like if you find something that you love, find something that you really want to tell people about, or even something that you're just trying to get better at, making a video about it's a great way to do it.